Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening to our lecturer and our fellow classmates. Today, we, Group 5, are going to present about our topic, which is peer pressure among secondary school students. First of all, I would like to introduce our group members, which consists of Munirah binti Matila at Saudi, Nerishah binti Benhar, Nerishah binti Ahmad Muzahar, and Kamilih. Our presentation today will be focusing on introduction, which consists of background of study, definition of peer pressure, as well as some of the early signs of peer pressure, interview session and findings, some of the recommendations to overcome this issue, as well as conclusion. I'm Nerishah binti Benhar and I will be presenting about the introduction to this topic. In Malaysia, the secondary education is provided to students aged between 13 to 17 years old, and this is a critical age period where students will experience a phase of transition from adolescents to teenagers. According to Rishah of Karoba, period of high school age is a stage in the formation of the sphere of moral self-awareness, gaining a worldview position, and moral self-determination. The moral development of a high school student is a starting age when a person can be recognized as moral. And during this critical age period, there are some external factors that can influence the shaping of the students' moral standards as well as their attitudes. And some of these external factors consist of parents, siblings, and friends. Friends have the highest influence in shaping the moral standards and the attitudes of the teenager because during this age period, teenagers tend to spend more time with their friends compared to their parents and their siblings. Also, during this critical age period, teenagers will have to face some challenging decisions where some of them might not even have a clear right or wrong answer, and this causes them to tend to be more group-centric, where they prefer to follow the standards or norm of their social circles, and this is where peer pressure happens. Peers are people who are the same age of the student, like classmates, and when they try to influence how the student acts, that is called peer pressure. Peers can have positive and negative influence on each other, and students often give in to peer pressure because they want to fit in, they want to be liked, and they have no one to support them. In an article written by Steve Foda, he shared 7 obvious signs that a teen is suffering from peer pressure, and the first sign is behavior changes. If a teen's behavior seems to change when he or she is around certain people, then it might mean that the teenager is pressured to behave in a certain way around certain people. The second sign is feeling like they don't fit in. If a teenager tells you that he or she feels like they don't fit in, this might stem from the fact that they feel different compared to others because during teenage years, teenagers often have a strong urge to fit in with others. The third sign is trying new things. Peer pressure can often influence teenagers to try out new things, and these are not always positive because some of them might include drinking, smoking, and skipping classes. The fourth sign is obsession on image. During this critical age period, peer pressure can influence teenagers where they will feel more conscious about how they look and the way they dress, and all of these are to please others and to fit in with others. The fifth sign is making comparisons. If a teenager tells you that he or she wish that they look like somebody else or want to have what somebody else has, then this is a telltale sign that the teenager is suffering from peer pressure. The sixth sign is doing things they don't want to do. When a teenager is involved in a trouble and they admit that they don't actually want to do the things that they did, then this might mean that they were pressured by others to do it. And the last sign, which is the seventh sign, is performance at school. This is also one of the most obvious signs of peer pressure, where a student who often get good grades and high marks and suddenly these grades and marks are dropping, this might be a sign of peer pressure because other students tend to give negative remarks to a student who shows high performance in education, such as calling the student a nerd, and the student might also be subjected to bullying, and this can cause the student to reduce or decrease his or her performance in education just to fit in and be accepted by others. Thus, from this issue, we conducted an interview with an experienced teacher, Mr. Sharifuddin Murni Binwan Ibrahim, to understand more about peer pressure and to find out some of the methods of overcoming this issue, as well as how to extend a helping hand to a student who is suffering from peer pressure. Thus, I pass this floor to Sister Nur Munirah binti Matila at Saudi.
Okay. Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And hi everyone. My name is Munirah binti Natila in Saudi. So for today, I will continue this presentation and I will explaining the interview session and the findings for this presentation. Okay, for the interview's background, actually, Encik Sharifuddin is currently a teacher and a chief warden at SMK Datuk Perdana Tagok Bacok Kelantan. Whereby actually our interview session actually was conducted on 6th of November 2021 with all members participate in the session. So actually, Encik Sharifuddin Murni, or also known as Cikgu Din, actually has been teaching at school for nearly and roughly 28 years, since 1993 until now. He has been teaching at secondary school in several states like Selangor, Terengganu, Gomusang, and currently in Bacok Kelantan. Okay, so he expertise in handling and solving students' problems in secondary school. So let's get into our main issue for this presentation. So the role of teachers on how to extend help to the students. So based on our interview session, actually, one of the questions is teachers' experience dealing with the secondary school students, especially those who are easily influenced by surroundings such as peers. So usually, students who are easily influenced by others are students who do not know and do not have their own identity. This is some problems, and they do not have their own life direction and merely follow others without knowing the reason behind why he follow certain people, especially. So if the student choose their friends wisely, they will not create any discipline problems and eventually they will increase their academic performance, and if they don't, it will be vice versa. So how teachers can help this issue actually? Teachers will advise the student to choose friends wisely and locate them with well-disciplined students in the classroom. Because this is to ensure that all the students will be motivated to learn and have their own life motto to avoid unnecessary problems in and outside of the school. Okay, another question is the solution taken by teachers to combat the issue. So especially we are talking about peer pressure among secondary school students, right? So how actually action taken by the teacher? Firstly, the teacher will give advice. First, we will give advice to the students to choose friends wisely, as I mentioned before. Respect the teachers and find the root of the problems. Why? Because some students can actually accept the advice from us or from the teachers, and some are not. So let's say if the student has problem with the parents, for example, the teachers will have a meeting with the parent to discuss and talk about the issue. Uh, and if the student have some problems, others we as the teacher or the teachers can follow and find the root of the problem. So next, the teachers can also separate the students and their friends in classrooms, for example, as they will have some gap and more focus in the classroom. Because this is so important for the teachers to find the real factors of the problems occur in order to find the best solution to implement for the students. Because to ensure all punishment given are fair enough and students will learn from it. Okay. Furthermore, the teachers also can implement one of the methods given by Encik Syarifuddin Murni, which is the cross-questioning method when handling the students that create problems because following their peers. So, for example, here the teachers can have different disciplinary teachers and ask the same question during the session. And in the meantime, the teachers can give 5 to 10 minutes to the students to reflect themselves. So, if all the answers given by the students are same to the three discipline teachers, so it means that the students are talking through. But if they got different answers, it means the students are lying and so on. Why this method implement? Because this method can be implemented when student causing some group problems like stealing, and when the stealing happen, nobody want to admit to the action. So this is one of the solution that uh, students and teachers, the teachers can take as for the action taken to prevent this happen. And also, usually all this happen actually the peer pressure problem and so on also happen because the students are easily influenced by the others, and by I said that causing group problems like stealing and so on. Actually, there are some students that easily tempted and challenged to do it as asked by their friends. So this is one of the methods that can be implemented by the teachers to take action where some problems happen in school. So I will pass the next slide to Sister Nerishah. Sister Nerishah. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nerishah binti Ahmad Muzahar, and now I'm going to continue with the topic the role of the teachers and how to extend help to the student. So for the first two questions, Sister Munirah has explained about Encik Syarifuddin's answers and elaborated about it furthermore. And now I am going to continue with the third and fourth question. The third question is, as a teacher, is it important for teachers to know every little thing happening to its students inside or outside of school? So based on Encik Syarifuddin's answers in the interview video, he said it is important to know students personally, but it also depends on who the students are. So if the students are okay with the teacher interfering with their personal lives, then it is okay for him or her to get involved in the students' lives. So if the teacher does get involved, then he or she would not get into too deep and or get too personal. So the teacher would only find out about the personal things that the students that gets the students into trouble. So the teachers should not mind the students' business, but they only should find out about why or how the students became trouble or problematic. For example, personal problems related to the students' parents or families. Then the teacher would understand and not ask any further to protect the students' feelings. So if the teacher were to ask the students further questions about why or how the parents got divorced, or why or how the families got broken, and that would hurt the students' feelings. Another example is the students could also come from a poor family that are surrounded by students by rich families. This could lead them to peer pressure like stealing in order to fit in. So instead of asking why or how the student became a thief or how the students committed theft, then when the teachers find out that the students come from a poor family, then the teacher would understand instead of asking furthermore about their financial status and stuff. Teachers should also help by finding out how or why the students turned out to be problematic, just so they could understand instead of judging the students. So this personal information about the students should not become a pass for the teachers to judge or insult the students' families, parents, or even the students themselves. Instead, the teachers should try to understand why or how the students become who they are today, like why they are problematic or troubled. Next question is, in your opinion, who is responsible in handling troubled students? Is it the school's counselor or the teachers involved? So, based on Encik Sharifuddin's answers, he said, according to MOE, all teachers are counselors. All teachers are practically responsible in handling troubled students, but some teachers are officially appointed to be counselors. So other than counselors, other teachers play a big role in handling troubled students, not just counselors. This is because some students are more comfortable with normal teachers instead of counselors. So this is why it is important for teachers to practice to be counselors as well. This occurs because students are more comfortable with the teachers they meet every day, like their math teachers, their English teachers, history teachers, or any teachers at all who they meet every day for everyday lesson. So normal teachers are practically and emotionally closer to the students and counselors. So this is why some students are more comfortable with venting to their teachers instead of school counselors, because they only meet school counselors in average like once a month just to vent their problems to the counselors, which could make the students uncomfortable. So normal teachers who do get involved in handling the troubled students, who have this information about the troubled students or problematic students, have to consult with the official school counselors so that they could discuss about the students even further. So normal teachers get to know the students and get to know their backgrounds, their personal information as to why they became problematic or troubled. Then they will discuss with official counselors who are appointed by school so that they could discuss about the students. So it is important for normal teachers to get involved in this so that they could become a bridge between school counselors and students. So they could become the middleman so that they could connect the students and the school counselors, because normal teachers are, like I said, emotionally closer to the students than school counselors are. Okay, so that is all for the questions.
So now I'll be sharing a few recommendations that related to our project. So according to academic study 2017, it shows that students look up to their teachers as a role model. So by that, they might want to improve their academic performance. So this indicates that teachers influence the academic performance of students through motivation or reinforcement, which in return enhances effective teaching and learning. And also, teachers and administrators must have the knowledge about peer relationship of the school students. So this is to help them to overcome the negative impact of peer pressure. So as a teacher, we should understand that the peer group is an important factor in child's learning, and therefore we should use it to encourage their learning process. Other than that, the principals should improve students' motivation by putting in place strategically and performance reward effectively. Also, there should be an experienced psychologist appointed as school counselor to solve the immediate problems of children or students as to avoid aggressiveness among them. Next, according to a debate 2016, the findings revealed that peer group could positively influence the academic performance of students. So, by that, students should endeavor to form or join groups that are study inclined and encourage learning so that they can get an effective learning. And also, students should make friends with those who can guide them to the right path and stay away of peers who would pressure them to do wrong things. While in family perspective, according to Mustafa 2010, family members can provide information and guidance directly or indirectly to influence the peer group of a child. So by that, parents should make sure their children are well monitored, and they should encourage them to have friends that would have a positive influence on their learning both at home and at school. Also, parents should develop a close, open, and honest relationship with their children and take keen interest in their academics. Okay, so there are many other ways to solve negative peer pressure. So, as a teacher, we should promote positive peer pressure outcomes in our classroom. We also need to give them the information they need. So, as a teacher, we should never assume that a young person knows everything they need to, such as risky behaviors, drugs, alcohol, and etc. Rather, we should make sure that they are well informed by talking to them about it. And also, as a teacher, we should talk openly and honestly with the students about what peer pressure is and how it can be used for both positive and negative outcomes. So, we as a teacher should encourage students to talk about the pressures that they feel to confirm and discuss practical ways to solve the pressure. Also, we as a teacher should provide opportunities for students to practice their communication skills to manage negative peer pressure situations. So, role playing and using real life scenarios are effective approaches to use. And we also should involve parents in discussion about peer pressure because parents have an important role to play in talking to their child about peer pressure. While for students, they have to get out of the situation when a situation begins to turn bad. For example, when they see a group of people doing risky things. And also, they need to learn how to be assertive, to say no in a way that's calm and convincing. So, also, they have to choose friends carefully because a true friend won't push them to do something that makes them uncomfortable. Also, they have to ask for help if necessary. They shouldn't bear the pain alone. They should tell their parents or teachers if they need to. And also, they have to go with their gut if something doesn't feel right for them. So here are the recommendations of the project that can be practiced or can be took into consideration.
Now that we are done, I'm going to move on to the conclusion. Okay, so to conclude, peer pressure is a big factor that can impact child's learning and growth in general. Parents and teachers play a big role in helping their children or students handle peer pressure. So not just teachers, parents and families should play a big role as well. Um, the problems of the students depend on them. So if they are problematic, then the students are problematic. If they are helpful, if they are responsible, then the teachers then the children or students will not become problematic. Parents and teachers' expectations influence children's or students' behaviors. So parents and teachers should be aware of what they expect from the children, because this could lead to the students facing peer pressure and being pressured by their expectations, like their high expectations or low expectations from parents and teachers. Parents and teachers should also have good communication with each other and with the children facing peer pressure at or outside of school. So it is important for teachers and parents to understand each other so that they could help the students together. Teachers play a vital role in teaching students to make wise choices and maintain their individuality by following the path of positive consequences. So teachers should be able to make students make wise choices and make have their own opinions instead of following other people just to fit in, just to face peer pressure among other big or better students. So in order to avoid all that, teachers should make sure that their students have their own individuality, have their own personality, and follow the path to positive consequences. Okay, so now that all is done, that is all from us. Thank you so much.